It has been forever since I've been in the kitchen to do something. I got a new stove, so I really am anxious to do something. I have here a chuck roast that it's a black Angus actually, that I put in the freezer for, I let it thaw, but then I put it in the freezer for about an hour. See, got a little frost here. Put in the freezer because I wanted it to be firm, because I am about to make beef and broccoli, and in order to do that, I start with a chuck roast, which is cheaper than if I were to purchase the strips of beef that are prepared for this type of dish. Hey guys, we're just getting started, but I'm so excited to show you how this turns out. Keep watching. So let me show you what I'm doing here. I have got, again, this Angus beef. I'm going to show you a couple of things. One is I am cutting the beef very, very thin for a beef and broccoli stir-fry type dish over rice. The other thing I think is important to show you is the grain of this beef seems to be going this way. You can see the striations of the fat kind of going in this direction. And so I am cutting in this direction because I am optimizing the amount of tenderness that I'm going to get by cutting against the grain. So this is cutting with the grain, same direction as the grain is going, but I'm going to cut against the grain so that I can optimize how tender that beef can be in a short cooking time. So here you guys can see that I was able to achieve some very thin cutting. I did not trim the fat off. I actually chose not to. This is about a little over 1.5 pounds Angus beef roast that I have prepped for beef and broccoli. The reason I'm able to get these thin strips, by the way, is because my knife is very sharp, and I put this in the freezer for about an hour after it had completely thawed. I put it in the freezer for about an hour because I wanted it to be easier to cut into strips. This is going to be quite a ride, guys. Stay tuned. It's about 1 o'clock on Sunday, and I am about to make beef and shrimp with broccoli. This is some canola oil. I'm simply adding, I don't know, guys, what I have, about a couple tablespoons. I'm going to let that get really warm. I'm working in a cast iron enamel pot so that I have a lot of heat. And let me show you what we're doing today. All right, guys. So I want you to be able to see what I've been doing here. Actually, in batches, I've been browning the Angus roast that I sliced, because we're making beef and shrimp and broccoli over rice today. So I've been browning it over batches. And this is the last batch of meat. But I want you to see that fond. We talk about fond all the time, at least I do. I want you to see that down there. That's flavor. So I am going to get some of that oil out of this pot. Just get some. I don't need all of that oil for the next step. That was, depending on the size of your roast, it honestly, once you have it cut, it just takes a few moments. The next step is designed for, to create tenderness. I made this dish before, and I believed that the beef could have been more tender. And so I created a step that I'm about to show you that gives us that complete chew. It doesn't give you any chew on the meat. It ensures that we're not going to get any chew on the meat, that it just bites straight through, just like the shrimp, just like the broccoli, and that you're not chewing the meat after everything else is gone. So stick around, let me show you that. So here we are with the oil out of the pot. Got rid of that oil, and I'm going to use that flavor there, that fond. I am going to turn my pot up really, really high. And the plan is to get that off the bottom. It's really a wonderful flavor booster. I am certainly not making soup or anything brothy. I just need something of liquid and a high heat to get that fond off the bottom of the pot. And you can see, once you put liquid and heat there, it comes up very, very easily. Now, this is a step that is not necessary for a lot of people. Just because, I don't know, I cook like I cook and I eat like I eat. I want that meat to just completely bite through. So this step is added by me after having done this dish once before and thinking I could improve it. So now I almost look like I have like a bouillon in there, just with the fond from the bottom of that pot. I am going to put that steak, that Angus, back into here and give it about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so to cook, because I am encouraging tenderness. That's what I'm working on at this point. So like I said, this is a step that you don't have to do, but if you want your meat to be, you know, super tender, then I think it's a step that you should take. So this is a cast iron enamel, and it holds a lot of heat, and it will hold it really well for quite a while. So I really am not going to need long in here. See how brown that meat is? I seared it, and that means that the meat will remain flavorful throughout the cook and not get dry. So I'm going to put the lid on because I am producing steam, which will encourage this meat to get tender. Got a couple steps left. This is a quick and easy meal. This is an added step, so just consider how easy the meal would be if I hadn't added this particular step. Either way, we'll keep an eye on that. Let me show you what's next. So I've got that meat good and tender, really pretty looking up, ready to go. Got some garlic back into that pot, and that's what's left out after the fond and the broth that I used. I should admit I used chicken broth, but that's because that's what I had. Beef would make more sense, but as long as I'm not using water in my eyes. I'm also going to add some ginger to the pot, and I just have this ready to go stuff because I can freeze it and I don't have to toss. I'm not wasting it. So this is going to cook for a little bit. I'm going to make a little bit of a broth with sugar, spice, salt, and at the end we'll coat it with honey. I don't know if I have enough honey, but it's going to have to do the trick. It's not necessarily for sweetness. There's an effect that it has on the meat. I'll show you. What you can't see underneath is that I've got a broth going down there. All the beef is back in, and by the time this frozen broccoli is done, my shrimp will be done. This is a very quick dish. All I have to do at this point is, when it's done, I'm going to add honey, some sesame oil, toasted sesame seeds, probably some lemon juice and zest. That's my own little additive. And we're going to eat this over rice. So the meat, browning the meat is probably the longest part of the process. I can't wait to show you the finished product. At some point when I have enough room in this pot, I am going to make a slurry. Use some flour with some liquid to thicken what you'll see as a broth. Just stay tuned. I'll show you. So here we are. Off heat, I added, I zested some lemon and squeezed lemon juice in there. Added the honey, toasted sesame seeds, and the sesame oil. This just needs to be put over rice, and this dish is complete. It's really quick, but it's kind of sophisticated, and you can make a lot of it, so there can be leftovers, or you can have company over. Something that you can invite people over and show off a little skill, even though it didn't take much skill. So I'll show you when it's completely plated up, and I'll let you know what I thought. Thanks for watching, guys.